Insider Season 3.
Premiere.
Premiere.
That.
Yeah. Woo!
Hello, everybody. My name is Hope Solomon. I am one of your co-hosts. And with me today, I have a special guest co-host. And it is Andrew Buchanan, our VP of Operations. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for
Andrew.
letting me show up. I was told to be here, but thank you so much for letting me be here.
You know what? You're so welcome. So let's talk about what we have in store for you today by going over our agenda. So on the first thing, we will have an interview with Jake Martin and Chelsea Treboniak. And then from there, we will be jumping into an exciting demo with yours truly, Andrew and myself. And then, of course, one of you at the end will be walking away with a Yeti cooler.
Yes.
And Andrew,
so excited about this.
Let's talk about how.
Yeah,
one
I
is
think
going to
there's
walk
something
away.
we always do. I always forget. Oh, it's called Kahoot.
Kahoot.
And I hate to say this, but there are rules associated with Kahoot.
Rules?
There are usually 3 of them. James does an excellent job explaining these, but I'm going to do it in my own flavor today. So the first one is always you have to be right. And I struggle with this a lot. Hope never struggles. She's always right.
This is true.
But you have to be right on the Kahoot. The next thing I'm really good at, and that's being fast. You have to be really fast.
Gotta be fast.
But the winning combination is combining those two,
Ooh.
fast and right. Now, the third thing is always a necessity.
Necessity.
I like to say that I'm good at this one, but who knows?
You're great
You
at
know,
this
my
one.
kids probably don't think that.
What
But
is it?
You
Tell me.
have to have fun.
Fun!
Especially within the Kahoot, all right?
Yes.
You have to have as much fun at. I'm sorry. I was talking about fun, but there's a lot of
Are
noise.
you yelling?
I don't know if you can hear out
Can you
there.
hear me?
I'm sorry, I was yelling.
Oh, sorry.
I wanted. You're probably wondering why we're dressed like this.
This is
We've
our
got
normal
caution.
Wednesday get-up.
I wanted to let you know this is our very first Invo Insider in our new Invo HQ. Woo! We're so excited about this. But I will say, we're not all the way done. We're still a little bit of work in progress here at the HQ. And so you might from time to time hear some jackhammering or some things like that. I'll try to keep that at bay. As I told you guys, sorry. I'll try to keep that at bay as much as possible during this time. But we're really excited about being here in our new studio, at our new HQ. Really excited about that and really excited about all the new beginnings that we have here at 2024.
You know what? Speaking of new beginnings, I want to talk about something new that is coming this year in 2024, which is called our Confetti Corner.
Yes.
Oh.
Confetti
Okay.
Corner.
Yes, we have our Confetti Corner, and that is our new newsletter.
Yeah.
Our culture through our newsletter. We'll be talking about product updates, enhancements that are coming. We'll even do some pro tips about how to utilize our software, give some client spotlights, but overall just showing you everything that's happening at Invo, keeping you in the know, and just giving you all the information that you need to keep up to date with this crazy crew.
Absolutely. We're really excited about the Confetti Corner. And we're really excited to show you this. You should be receiving your very first Confetti Corner at the end of this month or near the end of this month.
Ooh.
Yeah, look forward to that.
So exciting.
Now, we've taken the spotlight a little bit, but we want to throw it over to our fearless leader now to talk about the upcoming interview we've got. So go ahead and take it away, Jake.
Well, good morning, Insiders. Thank you so much for being here. Big shout out to Hope and Andrew, special guest host, for getting us started on the right foot. I'm so excited for the new season. So welcome to the 2024 season of the Insider, brought to you by Invo Solutions. You are in for a treat today. Today's a very special episode for us as a company. So we are also, really getting a chance to take a look inside our new Invo Solutions headquarters for the first time. So it's fun to be able to reveal that to you. You're going to see a little bit of a sneak peek from some different spaces today. Rest assured, many more surprises on future episodes, so make sure you're checking back in with us each month as we release this content. A lot of fun is in store for you, but we've got quite the episode planned for you today. So first things first, where's James? We didn't just kick him out the door, we literally kicked him out of the state. He's on site with one of our newest clients in the wonderful state of Utah, but rest assured he'll be back in the future as well. In the meantime, you're in great hands. Of course you are. We've got a lot of fun planned. And who knows what Hope and Andrew are going to do. We know they're already off doing wild things to get us going, and the energy level is high. But we got a lot more planned as we get into the product as well as the interview later today. So the interview, that's a new segment for us today. So we're introducing what we're calling Insiders You Should Know. Insiders You Should Know is specifically in reference to bringing you someone that can help grow your network of reference. And what I mean by that is who is innovating within this industry, who are the thought leaders, who are doing things that I think you should be aware of, and who could bring education into your existing role and your organization that you serve. So that's going to be the goal for the Insiders You Should Know. We're really starting off on the right foot today, bringing you someone I think you're going to really enjoy hearing from. So today's special guest is going to be Chelsea Treboniak, owner of Critical Ops. Chelsea is an unbelievable individual, which I think you're going to love to hear from and also connect with after today's episode. And so we'll talk more about that when we get into the interview. But Chelsea is a graduate of the West Point Academy, went on to serve in the Army branch of the military, and then upon coming back to civilian life has launched the Critical Ops company, which you'll be, I think, finding out a lot more about here very quickly. In addition to that, we've got some other fun things planned as we introduce new segments. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to completely go away from what we've done traditionally. We just want to add to that. So, of course, we're going to be bringing back Bankers You Should Know. We're also going to be sharing with you use cases, those that are doing things with the Invo platform that we think will be beneficial for you when it comes to strategic planning, looking to innovate within your organization, or expanding your current use of the Invo platform with products and services that maybe you have yet to deploy. We're going to continue to make that our key focus while also bringing in some new information, I think, and like I said, insiders that you should know, which I think will be a great thing. Now, we are in a new space. We're having some fun with this today, and so hopefully you'll stick around for that. If anything, you might want to stay till the very end when we're going to be giving another Yeti cooler away. So stay plugged in, stay leaned in. Take notes if you think that'll be helpful. There will be quizzes along the way, as you know, with Kahoot. And so thanks again for being here. Here's to another great season of The Insider. And with that, let's send it back over to the new Studio A to Hope and Andrew.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jake. Appreciate that very much. But before we jump into our exciting interview, we want to do a Kahoot.
Yeah, let's go.
All
Let's
right.
go.
You know the drill, and if you don't, let me tell you about it. You are going to go out to www.kahoot.it, or if you have the app. At times, James will say the app is faster.
Yeah, we've heard things.
We've heard things, but I don't know.
I don't know if he's
either
just
one works
saying that or what.
perfectly. So
Yes.
then you'll put in your name and the game pin, which is Andrew.
785-834.
Repeat.
785-834.
Very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
I like that. That's good.
We're having people
wow,
come
we got
up.
Wonder Woman in the chat. Yeah.
Wonder Woman. Wow. That's amazing. So as a reminder, everybody, please do not exit out of the app or the browser. We will be going through this throughout our time together. So there'll be 3 different segments, and you'll want to ensure to keep this up. That way, when we come back to it, you'll have it ready to go. This is how you win the Yeti, everybody.
Yes, very much so.
Win the
And
Yeti.
don't forget the rules. You got to be right, fast, and most importantly, have some fun.
Have
So
the
yeah.
fun. We're gonna let those
we got-
names
yes,
keep coming
We
in.
got great ones in here.
Andrew,
Yes.
tell us about something you did on New Year's while we're waiting.
I'm very boring. I'm nearing 40 and I've got kids, and so I think I went to bed at 9:30 or something like that. I watched the ball drop somewhere in London,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, yeah, way to go. That's good.
You know,
enough for me.
That sounds.
Okay. Hey, I told you to stop with the backing up.
Sounds like
sorry,
a
there's
party.
still construction going on.
All the construction. All right, are we ready to go?
I think
Are we
so.
going to count us down? Last seconds. Here we go.
3,
5.
5, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. I went to public school. All right.
All right. This is our first section. You got 3 questions. Here we go. All about the Invo Insider.
Yes.
Question number 1. What day of the week did New Year's fall on?
I got
Was
this
it Sunday? Was it Monday?
Maybe.
Was it Tuesday or was it Wednesday?
It was definitely the first. That's
That-
all I know.
That is an accurate
That's
statement.
Yes, I'm not lying.
You're not.
It was the first.
To be fair, you are correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, you are right. See?
Yeah, always.
There you go.
Maybe sometimes.
It was Monday, which
Yes.
was a great day for it to fall on. All
Very
right, let's
much
see that
so.
leaderboard.
Who's up?
Who's
Who's up
in
here?
first?
Oh,
RM.
Rim and
Rim
Wonder Woman
and Wonder
taking up
Woman.
1, 2. Oh, and Maddie's tied with Wonder Woman. Ooh.
All right, question number 2. What is the name of our new newsletter?
I gave some hints on this one.
Invo's World, Invo's newsletter full of news, Invo's Confetti Corner, or Invo's info about Invo?
Yeah.
Definitely that.
The
that fourth one.
IIAB. Or no, IIAI. There we go. Yeah, the Invo's info about Invo. Yeah.
I
that
really
one a lot.
think that one should be it.
Yeah.
I think we should
We
reconsider
have to
and
acronym it.
potentially name
Yes,
it
the
that one.
confetti corner.
The confetti
we never
corner.
have enough confetti here,
Never.
so that's what we're doing.
Never.
Ooh, Tiff jumping Maddie.
All right. Good job. Here we go. Here we go. Last
Here we go,
question
here
of
we
this
go, here we
section.
go.
Invo just moved headquarters.
Woo!
Is that true or is that false?
Watch out, she's sneaky.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Sometimes she gets y'all.
Oh, no.
This is where the whole be fast thing really is my downfall. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm really fast, and then I look at it and I'm like, wait,
Oh, that's not right.
that's not the right
That's
colors.
not it.
In spots
It's
for this.
flipped. So you got to be,
Take notice.
take note. It is true.
Ooh,
I
it
didn't
got
get that
two
many
pe- it only got
people.
two, that's
it
good.
got 2. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, here's the leaderboard. Tiff still holding first
Yes,
place.
Maddie's
Congratulations.
consistently number 2.
I know.
Let's get that to number 1, Maddie. That's the
Number
main thing.
1. Now let's keep in mind, remember to keep those browsers
Yes.
up and the app open because we will be coming back to a Kahoot after the
You don't want to
interview.
have to log back in and do all that stuff. You'll lose it. All right, now we'd like to go ahead and transition to the interview with Jake and Chelsea. Now, Chelsea works at Critical Ops, and this interview is absolutely amazing. It was actually one of our longest podcast interviews ever, so we've done a little bit of cutting to get some of the key points across, but we want to make sure and highlight that please be on the lookout for Friday's full podcast release. That way you can see all of the good news that Chelsea is sharing with Jake and really impacting kind of how we view things and reinforcing some of the things that we do here. So with that, I think we want to shoot it over to Jake.
We want to welcome Chelsea Treboniak to the podcast today. So, service in the Army, you were deployed. I believe I've got this right. You were active for 5 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, slightly over. So rewinding just a hair. 06 graduated from West Point and then met my husband on a rifle range.
Oh.
So super romantic. He likes to say I dropped my bullets and he picked them up.
That's
Yeah.
There's a Hallmark movie in there somewhere.
Oh, for sure. And so ironically, he deployed 6 months after I did, but our 16th wedding anniversary is coming up. We got married on Leap Day of 2008, and we actually got married in Fort Bragg's Hospital Chapel at 12:01 a.m.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah, we're
Nice.
we're your stereotypical, just relaxed, standard couple.
Okay.
No, he's I put my parents on. I put my whole family on a pedestal. My husband is just awesome. So I will say that there's something about him that's the yin of the yang, and he's truly the reason why the company exists because he saw that I know no bounds. I'm unwilling to accept failure as the only option, where I use it as an opportunity. And really, I think too often folks get stuck in their ways. And I'm more than happy to break you outside of that box and figure out how to push your limits, because everybody can do something better. We just have to combat that greatest thing, which is fear.
So let's go back. You get out, you finish your time of service, which thank you so much for your service, and your husband as well. And then you're like, you know what I want to do? I want to go start a company. We're going to go do this thing. So it's like, why not take on another big challenge, entrepreneurship, and leverage your skills that you have, and then go in to try to start something from scratch. How did that happen? How did that transition when you went into civilian life and take that on? What was that like?
Oh, sure. So happy to elaborate. Essentially, I got out of the service and knew I was pregnant with our first. And the funny story is for the first 5 years of our marriage, my husband and I never got a chance to actually live under the same roof. Because, he was either stationed in Ohio, I was stationed in North Carolina. The whole thing was a bit of a mess. So it ended up being, hey, if we're going to have a baby, do you want to hang out together every now and then and raise the thing together? So we decided we were going to draw straws on who got out. And I intentionally held up the short one and said, hey, I'm going to draw this one just so we're on the same page.
Wow.
So I got out. I ironically found out after deployment. I had obviously do the medical out processing, and it was just the right decision for our family for me to get out. In addition to the fact that I have an extra vertebrae and my back's completely screwed up. So we found that out in the hard way.
Oh, wow.
But it was one of those where you went, okay, so if you're going to transition out, what does this feel like? And I said, well, I'm pregnant. Let's have a baby. What if we did a fitness thing with a baby involved? So you bench pressed your baby,
Oh, this is good. I'm in on
Oh,
this.
it made total sense. And so then the baby came out. And for all of us new moms, dads out there, and that thing comes out and you're kind of going, there's a responsible someone somewhere that can make it stop crying. What do you do with it? So that put the kibosh on that business idea pretty daggone quick, although I loved it to this day.
Yeah, I do too.
But I started to go down the path of a more structured approach and said, you know what, USA Jobs, I can leverage my background, I know what I want to get into, and started to say, let's put my resume in these spaces. And that's when my husband stepped in, and hence bringing him into the picture. We're the yin of the yang. And he said he started a restaurant back in the day before he deployed. He's always had that entrepreneurial mindset and kind of pushed that over and said, why don't you do this? I obviously know a lot of the lessons I learned. We won't start a restaurant business. Let's create something together. I know you can do it. And so here's me oh, all right, he thinks I can do it. Let's do it,
Yeah.
And that was the kickstart to it. So in 2011, we started this brainchild of what would you say we do if we're truly trying to give people a voice and take that time that's so precious in this world and maximize it. And it came full circle come January, where National Guard Bureau actually said, hey, we need someone that'll deploy simulation software and really onboard it as a pilot project for the state National Guards. So you'll have to develop the software alongside the development team. You'll have to go out and train it. You got to put the manuals together. You got to get other facilitators that can go train. Would you do that? And I said, well, shoot, if I can do it as a standalone company, if you're down for that. And that's exactly how it unfolded, making a much longer story short, to say, now we're going out to all the National Guards and training a training software and then building it on the flip side. So kind of a unique endeavor, and anybody who's been in the service, when you serve active duty, which I was, so I served 82nd Airborne Division, and then I went over to 18th Airborne Corps, and then I was in Special Warfare College. When you go this path of indoctrination with the Army and then switch, you can still be Army, but when you put on a National Guard hat, it's a whole nother set of language. So despite all of that, you go down these paths of a huge learning curve for yourself to say, does X mean Y? What is a Title 10 order relative to a Title 32? And programming it at the same time.
Wow.
So it really brought out that opportunity of, although it felt like we were training, it gave the voice to the company of asking the hard questions of why. Why do you do it this way? What would be a barrier to entry? How do I program that in? In this case, it's another exercise inject. What happened in real life when this occurred, and how do we blend that in without obviously disclosing too much? So huge opportunity to really figure out where critical ops was designed to help folks, hence the name. It's critical that you can operate in any industry, but you have to have a voice to do it.
When you identified the financial space, and you referenced it, the community banking space, and I'd lump in community banks and credit unions to that, both. When you looked at that and you said, "Hey, I think that there is a place that we can bring value," what was that first step? Like, how did you start to go down that path to become educated, become knowledgeable, to find out how you could really bring in that value?
Yes. So every time we did move, I'd go to the SBA and ask them, hey, we're a small business. Where are the opportunities? Where should I get involved? Where is business most active in this area? Well, highly recommend to any small business out there, because those folks have a pulse on it. There's likely a different name for an entity to be involved in. So things like in Cleveland here, Greater Cleveland Partnership, your different chambers of commerce, there's different online portals. There's always some place you should turn to that when you ask the question, going back to the focus of critical ops, someone knows the answer and they'll point you in the right spot. So ironically, the SBA consultant in South Carolina was linked to the credit unions. And I said, oh, shoot, I've grown up with the credit unions. Obviously, Penn Fed's on West Point. I've had a credit union account my whole life. How are you involved? Well, he happened to be connected from the board of directors angle, but introduced me to what was called the supervisory committee. So I'm going, oh, okay, this sounds cool. I can give this a shot. So put in an application and said, hey, I'd like to be on your supervisory committee if this is an opportunity. And got a call the next day and they said, sure, ironically, we have an opening. What's your background? We'll see if you qualify, etc. I had no idea what I was walking into. So it was a great thing in terms of that was when we were still printing all the packets to walk in, and I got handed a nearly 200-page board packet for supervisory committee, and I'm going, oh boy, can I take that back? Is this it?
Yeah, exactly.
But have been on the supervisory committee since 16 was that, and have been on it ever since. So the nerd in me, and I'm very proud of my nerdism, constantly is trying to explore what is the role of supervisory, how do they enhance the credit union, how do they enhance the experience, constantly get my hand slapped to say you're not responsible for marketing, you're not responsible for customer retention, all that stuff, but it's a great experience to be on our core operation as a credit union is obviously financial. If we're doing okay in that space, which the credit union I'm on supervisory for is Safe Federal Credit Union, we're doing great in terms of growth and our strategy. What else do we need to do to continue to do great things for the industry at large? So that's where I really got started in terms of a professional side of credit union operations. Yeah. And then nerd in me came out, constantly reaching out, and then obviously I'm extremely shy, as you can tell. So folks then said, will you come speak on different lanes of expertise? That got me out there and speaking on topics, and then obviously talking about critical ops, talking about what we do as a specialty with new initiatives, pilot projects, and full implementation, and then even down different segues like modernization and fraud and security, and how are those plaguing our industry, and what can you do about it?
That's fantastic. And now you found yourself traveling again.
So we laughed about that the other day as we looked at how many nights we spent on the road, and I went, boy, we really got to figure that one out again.
Yeah. And you're not moving every 16 months. You're just traveling, in lieu of moving, you're just traveling instead, but at least you get to come home to the same bed. So
the funny story behind that is with the boys, we finally were looking at another move when we lived in South Carolina. And so I called my mother-in-law and I said, hey, we're facing another move. We're looking at just say, forget it. My husband at that time was an active guard reserve, which is another component of the military, and looked at that and said, what if you get out of active guard reserve and go back to being a reservist so we don't have to move as often as we are?
Sure.
And called her. She said, hey, I'd love for you guys to live in Ohio. My mom, obviously, and dad in Minnesota. And I said, no offense, but I'm not living in the tundra. We're good.
Yeah, you've done your time.
Yeah, and so it's been a great opportunity to be on the road. We did elect to move. My in-laws live 25 minutes down the road. That we just tell them our time on the road is their chance to be immersed in their grandchildren's lives.
There you go. There you go. Yep. Best support system you can have if you've got access to it is good family. And yeah, we're very much thankful for the same thing. Ironically, my in-laws live about 25 minutes away, and so we get the opportunity to do that. And my folks live even closer than that, so they are retired, which is great because you just drop the kids off. And then you're like you said, what was that phrase? You immerse yourselves in your grandkids. Is that what that was?
You get to immerse yourselves in the lives of your grandchildren.
That's good.
I love it though. I get because you're on the road too, where it's like you go, how do I be on the road with comfort? And I think that to me is a comfort. That otherwise you're stuck being with them when I'm around, and who wants that? Go do you. I'm not going to control that environment.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. One of the things I did want to talk a little bit more about was just your expertise that you have shown in my capacity of seeing you operate. And recently I joined you in one of your formats that you support. And so, and I don't know if you would call that a webinar or a live stream group that you host and about fraud and prevention and what that is. But I wanted to really give you an opportunity and a platform to talk about that today. And what the mission of that is, what the goals of that group are, what is the audience that participates within that. And for those of the listeners that are here today, I think that might have value in joining or participating. How would they find out more? So maybe if you wouldn't mind to kind of just walk us into that a little bit, I think that would be really valuable.
Oh, absolutely. So I think when we look at really the whole financial industry, we're facing so many changes. And we can lump a lot of those into broad brushstroke topics, whether that be kind of the digital transformation and technology adoption space, which obviously brings on then cybersecurity threats and regulatory compliance. We also can look at it from a different bucket where it's like, how do we remain competitive with other fintechs and big banks, and what makes us attractive when it comes to community banking and obviously credit unions. And on the third angle of that is really going down operational efficiency, that we're trying to do more with less constantly. How are we doing that through digital transformation without losing our identity? Where do the people, process, and technology align? And then loop in the other elements I just talked about, in addition to talent management, retention, customer management, that retention. There's so many different trends we're looking at in 24. And as we move into all of those, our greatest hindrance is truly time. Anymore, our personal time, whether it be at the senior leadership level to the frontline worker, but on the flip side of that, the members, they just want to get their money and they want it now with the least amount of friction.
Yep.
So time becomes this battle. And when time is truly the battle, we don't pause to reflect. We don't pause to think about the right action. So fraud has unfortunately always been a big part of what is now, we're calling out as a trend or as a lane of expertise. But when you look at fraud, and it dates back to 300 BC, check fraud introduced itself in an overwhelming presence in 1980. Well, it's still among the greatest fraud sources there are.
Yep.
So it's not that tactics are changing. They're just becoming more sophisticated, and we're moving faster to maximize time in a different space, so we're getting caught by them.
Yeah.
So fraud being this thing that is just this mean beast inside of a friendly, relationship-driven world is almost ruining the smaller credit unions, because one hit of fraud puts them under. And on the larger side, it's almost impossible to quantify the reputation damage inflicted from a fraud incident.
Sure.
And we can look at some of the big ones out there with different industries. It doesn't necessarily just have to be in credit unions. And the damage created and the amount of funding, so quantitative and qualitative output that had to be poured into the recovery side is almost surreal. So what happened? Essentially, I found out that a lot of credit unions didn't have fraud procedures.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? I'm happy to put some together. I'm not the expert, but I'll learn to be a big expert if you'll help me. But that requires you to put a red pen at what I go to the whiteboard with. So I did a lot of interviews and said, what does this feel like? Do we go down essentially the 4 Ds of security? Do we go down emergency management themes that align with FEMA? What type of procedures best resonate, knowing that we're a policy-driven industry? So those got developed. We launched a survey and said, will you give feedback? 50 people jumped all over that. And
wow.
So I said, cool, this is awesome. Like, what else do we want to hear?
Yeah.
And CUNA, this was all done through CUNA compliance community.
Okay.
So I asked CUNA, I said, hey, can I set up a monthly webinar that's designed specifically not for sales? It's designed for someone to get on and talk about the fraud space, and then give the credit unions a voice to what's plaguing them at that very moment. And then just throw out some events they can go to that are either in the region or web-based. It'll be all within an hour, but at least it gives fraud a voice once a month via a recognized known source that can be trusted.
Yeah.
So they said, sure. So that's really what launched, is just this opportunity for fraud to be the central theme of conversation. Once a month, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can literally just send me an email and I'll get you involved. You have to be linked to CUNA in its current state because it does fall under the CUNA compliance community. But either way, we're not shy about sharing the lessons learned. And I'll pull that out all day long because the current one right now, and essentially my threads are blowing up on treasury check fraud.
Yeah.
And it comes up yearly. It's especially bad this year because we're understaffed.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, it's obviously around tax season. And then the third angle of that is the economy. That folks want their money, they need their money, and then the scam artists have already mastered ways to fraud the system.
Yeah.
So now people are a little bit aware that's going on. They want to know the status of their money. So there's a greater need for transparency as well.
When did you launch that?
That started in 21.
Okay.
In a second guess, yes, 21.
Okay. And what's the best way for anyone to get a hold of you, to find out more, to connect with you, to find out if they can join this group? What's the best avenue for that, Chelsea?
Kudos to CUNA. They've set it up where essentially they've tagged it with fraud, a hashtag fraud working group, a hashtag fraud. You can see the thread. They've even made it part of the CUNA compliance homepage on the right-hand side where you can follow the streams of thought. I post the slides there every time after the event launches, and then any guest speakers, which Jake, you did a phenomenal job, we'll post the insights from that guest speaker as well. Yeah. To get involved, jump in that thread if you want to, or send me an email if you actually want to be on the calls. I know for the West Coast folks, they've asked multiple times for us to shift it out of that 7 a.m. slot Pacific time. Unfortunately, I can't right now, but any of the above works.
What is the value that you and your company bring to that arena? So I know that there's a lot of, I would say, assistance or guidance that you guys offer through your organization, but what if someone is listening in here and there's an insider that is attending that is in a scenario like this, or maybe on the cusp, even if it's not public yet, what would be something that they might be able to engage you with that you guys could provide skill sets with, that you guys can provide guidance with? What does that look like from a critical ops standpoint?
We like to look at ourselves not as consultants, which we are, and that I think anytime you get the consultant hat thrown on your head, it's difficult to navigate away from being overpriced, underperforming, high cost things on a piece of paper.
That's not a great mission statement, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think that is our sweet spot. And that I'll call a duck a duck. We fall victim to the stereotype of what a consultant is. Mm. The other side of that is a consultant is truly just providing feedback. And it's feedback and it's honest feedback. And where critical ops is different, and we went down this whole path of calling ourselves consultants. So like next of kin.
Sure.
In that we completely immerse ourselves in your operation to understand the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're comfortable doing that. And we'll call it out. We'll call it out fast. We'll call it out with quality deliverables, and we'll be on time because it goes against everything we stand for in the military to not do any of the above. So needless to say, we take a very military-esque approach and treat it like the next mission that has to get answered and solved as fast as possible, but knowing that human lives are at stake. And that sounds aggressive. And it is aggressive, but that, like I said, our sweet spot is because if I'm working with your company is the only thing you care about. And the employees that are members of your staff, their livelihoods, their children, their grandparents, their everything are all linked to that. And I've seen that from the good and positive way of looking at critical ops and what we do as consultants, and in the negative way, in things like on the military front, seeing the bad actors and how committed they are because there's lives at stake. So when we go down that path of talking bad actors are working harder, yeah, because the stakes are higher in some scenarios. Not all of them, but in some scenarios. When we put that hat on for good, yes, the stakes are high. And we're going to give you the things you deserved and have asked for. And if we can't give you the exact right answer, we're going to bring in the people that do. So that's where I would say critical ops knows that our quote unquote superpower is truly pulling back all the fluffy and literally hitting the rut right out of Jump Street and then giving you what you've asked for. So that can be in the form of the pilot projects, the full implementation, and even those new initiatives that you don't want to stand as fear factors or barriers to entry. You just want them done. You're not really sure where to start. So that's a lot of where people will call us, is they understand that we truly, I especially, lead with no fear. And that's where all of critical ops staffs equip with that mentality. If you're not learning, if you're not going down the road that's a bit wavy and you got to navigate away, you're traveling straight, and that's frankly going nowhere. Yeah. So hit some bumps and curves, figure out where those touch points are, and develop the right answer so it is smooth sailing.
Yeah, I love that. And I also absolutely share that opinion. And I think if you're not, and let's be fair, there's a lot of organizations that are successful that have existed for a long time in the financial community space that have followed a very traditional path, and it's got them to this point. I think the scary thing is presuming that that's also going to take them into the future. And it's just moving too fast to remain, and this is a critical word, but to remain even relevant in this environment when there is so many other alternative financial partners out there that are a choice or an option. And today, that doesn't even just mean brick and mortar on the street. That means digital. And when you look at organizations like Apple and Amazon looking at the financial space to bring their own version of a financial institution to the market, you sure as heck better be scared. And scared is probably the right word to see how do we remain competitive. And then back to that word relevant again, because the straight road, as you identified, I think is no longer going to be the way to get there. And I had a business owner that I view as a mentor said, if you're not running a little bit scared all the time, then your time is going to be short. And that's because if you're not looking at what's new and what's next and outside your comfort zone, you're doing yourself and then ultimately the people that you're serving, I think, a disservice. And I think that the balance to that is having resources available to ensure that you're doing the right things and you're listening to what others are doing, and that you've got groups like yourself, Chelsea, to be honest, that they can bounce ideas off of and then ensure that the things they're doing are safe and secure along the way. And I think that has to balance itself out. When you think about all of that being said, moving into the future, and this could be the value that you and your organization are bringing, and then also it just could be observation that you've made or that you see. All of this is rapidly accelerating from the way that financial institutions operate, and even regulatory situations. You know, if you were to say, you know, in 24, 25, 26, what organizations should really be looking at the most to ensure, you know, safe and security, as well as anything related to that arena? You know, what do you see on your short list that they should be concerned about looking at, or at least having identity of?
Great question. And I go down a couple paths in that we've now made ourselves so diversified that it's almost impossible to say you solely service one subset and you can clearly define them with one avatar.
Sure.
All of us have multiple avatars that we're servicing. So where I'd start with on coming up with that customized answer for you, and I say you in terms of all the listening audience, ask. If you've not taken the time to ask your members, your customers, your employees, your senior staff, why are you here? You don't know the right answer. And nothing I can tell you today is going to tell you that right answer. because you have not asked the people that are already giving you their money, their assets, etc., to be there, their time. So start there, and it's not
That's
a
good.
survey. And folks fall victim to this, I sent a survey out, my NPS is X or whatever it is. The surveys, people get through surveys as fast as they want to get through surveys. And you can't tell them to slow down. You can't read their mind to find, eventually maybe, read their mind to find out if they actually read the question and then gave you the honest answer. Or if they're second guessing that you're actually reading their IP address in the background to pinpoint it back to them, then you're going to can them the next week. So there's too much fear, and that slight element of fear is leading surveys to be skewed. And I'm not saying that 100% across the board, but if you're not personally having the conversation to ask, where are you going? What's next? Why are you here? Those basic questions can give you a world of answers that you never dreamed possible and can shape the direction of where you're going.
Is there anything that Chelsea as a person has identified as an area for growth or change in the upcoming year that you want to tackle personally?
Where should I start?
Yeah.
And Jake, thank you for this. I've loved it. I feel like I've done nonstop talking. So if anything, folks are going to say, next time you get her on, like force her to limit her answers to like 5 minutes each.
Oh, no.
That's ridiculous.
No, I'm growing awareness of the greatness that you can bring. And so I'm excited because I know everyone's going to want to find ways to connect to you. And we'll talk about that before we're done.
Well, thank you. And I think that what is my goal, and it's actually been, sadly, we started New Year's resolutions years ago, and great timing in terms of this podcast where it's falling on New Year's resolution time.
Sure.
And I wrote them down years ago, which was really, we had a space where we're going to go to church at least once a month. That was a standing Catholic and us coming out of us.
Love it.
You have to work out 300 days of the 364.
Ooh.
So not a lot and workout can mean like you chose to do yoga.
Sure.
You have to do community service to the tune of 8 hours a quarter, which we overperform because we volunteer coach for way too many things. And if you need a baseball enthusiast, just call my husband. He's got you covered. But the fourth was really the 50-year plan. And we drew the 50-year plan and have lived it to the extent you can with plenty of barriers in the way.
Okay.
Part of the 50-year plan that I've religiously failed on is taking 20 minutes a day and not related to the other three to just figure out who you are.
Wow.
So from the Chelsea angle, I'm a huge nerd. I love to read. I can't tell you the last time I picked up a book that didn't have a purpose behind reading it.
Okay.
Other than like at nighttime reading with my kids.
Sure.
So it's one of those where that 20 minutes, my goal in the coming year is to say 20 minutes to just stop, do something without a purpose, and I'm going to try to be better about saying I'm going to do it every day and actually put an attainable goal out there, like maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that. And I've got a couple days to figure it out still, but what is that 20 minutes in terms of frequency, and how do I actually do it as part of the 50-year plan?
Well, Chelsea, this has been a delight. I've enjoyed this time immensely, and I know all of our insiders that have joined today have also enjoyed it immensely. We're going to share out ways to get a hold of you and in touch with you in the show notes, as I shared earlier. Also would highly encourage anyone here to go connect with Critical Ops as well as Chelsea on LinkedIn. Very active in that arena. Would love to probably build that network, so I would encourage you to go connect with her there. And then also I could have all of my insiders advocacy to lean on Chelsea to join us in person for our Invo Summit in September of 24, because I think the more of us that put the pressure on her, the likelihood of her attending will be increased significantly. So I'm going to rally the troops on that one, and I'm not even going to give you a chance to respond. We're just going to make that happen. So Chelsea, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
No, thank you so much. And to all the listening audience, you can do it. Attack 24 with vigor. You got it.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Chelsea. Look forward to talking to you soon. Insiders, have a great day, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Chelsea and Jake. We are beyond impressed with Chelsea and all the work that they're doing over at Critical Ops, and I just really appreciate her taking the time. And of course, Jake is awesome sometimes. So, yeah. Now, what's next?
We are jumping into another Kahoot.
Yes. Wait, I said to stop back.
Oh.
We can go ahead and jump over to the
cue the
All right.
Kahoot, everybody.
Tiff, you're on top. Let's see if you can stay up there after this interview with Chelsea.
All right, so this next part, like Andrew just said, is all about the interview with Chelsea. So let's see who is listening. Get your phones out, get the app up, the browser, whatever. Here we go. How long did Chelsea serve in the Army? Was it 6 years, slightly over 5 years, slightly under 4 years, or was it 2 years?
Those slightlys get you. You're like, whoa.
Was it?
Oh,
Was it?
nice.
Yeah, it was slightly over 5 years, so she did mention that.
Nice job. 7 of you. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maddie.
Tiff.
Maddie's in first
moving
place.
up from second place. Good job, Maddie.
All right, here we go. Second question. Finish Chelsea's quote. Everybody can do something better. We just have to combat that greatest thing, which is ego, stress, Andrew's mustache,
Wait.
or fear.
Wait a minute.
Sorry, Andrew.
I just want to let you know.
Had to throw that one in there.
My mustache is undefeated, first of all. So whoever wants to combat that can. But okay, hey,
Fear.
2 people.
Yes.
I appreciate that. You did
Yes.
get the wrong answer, though. So
Most people got it right.
nice.
So, all right, here we go.
It's a tight race up top here.
It is. Here we go. Question number 7. What is the name of Chelsea's company? Is it Invo, Stable Ops, Critical Ops, or Staples?
I think that last one there, I don't know if we might get dinged. It's not, yeah, okay, there we go.
Yes,
Good
it is
job, people.
Critical Ops. So great job, everybody that got that correct.
Uh-huh.
Wow,
Oh,
it is so tight up
9
top.
points. There's only 9 points
crazy.
separating. Golly, that's
crazy.
close.
Okay.
All right, now is the wonderful part of the time where we get to show you our product. So let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of a demo here. And what we're wanting to demo today is new features. One of the things we're going to do in 2024 is we're going to be launching later on this year is our new widget. And I want to kind of talk to you about, kind of echoing what Chelsea talked about, is getting feedback from your customers and getting feedback of what their customers and members want, is what we put into creating this new widget. So one of the big things is anytime that you wanted to create a video call or a chat interaction or things like that, you would have to go to another website in order to complete that. We all have that. We here at Invo internally call it a landing page, where you can put all your cues and all your ways in order to get in touch with agents. Well, one of the things that we heard a lot about in feedback was, I don't want to leave the website in which I originally went to go see. So if you're going to your financial institution's website, we want to stay there because that's where I want to get information. I want to share information with the agent. And so now we have that new capability within the widget. The widget that we have, the Invo widget, can now be placed anywhere in your site, and we would recommend it's placed on the front page. And it persists throughout that entire way and throughout the entire website. That way, any customer or member that contacts you stays there and can ask specific questions about the website they're on without having to switch tabs or things like that with any channel that they want to do.
No, definitely, and that's perfect, Andrew. And the different modules that are presented on the widget are a chat, video banking, start a voice call, schedule a meeting, and co-browse with an agent. So we wanted to be able to just centralize all of those channels of communication and allow your customers to choose how they would like to communicate with you. And as you know, or you may not be aware, all of our products, so from there I can go ahead and today we're going to show you something about video banking. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select video banking, and then from there I'm just going to put in Will's first and last name, and he is going to be helping us out with the demo today, so thank you so much, Will Bruner.
Thank you, Will.
So we put in Will's first and last name, and then from there we would grab why he is there today. So maybe he's there for a general call, open a new account, business account, whatever the case may be. We would go ahead, select that, and then Will can put in his email address, or we can make that optional. I can agree to the terms, and then from there I can hit next. It's going to ensure that everything looks good, his device settings, his camera's on, microphone, speaker. Then from there he can start that video call. On my end, as the employee, saw a few things happen there. I received a new call card that has popped up. From there, I can see Will's name, why he's here. I can hover over that. I know that he wants to speak in English with us and that he's calling in from Springfield, US. So then from there, I can go ahead and answer this call. Full disclosure, we have one camera in the room with us, so our insider camera. So I'm not going to be able to pick up Andrew and I's camera feed through this, but you will be able to see Will, which is really all that matters.
Absolutely.
So now that we've connected to the call, we can go ahead and see a few different things. So we can see Will. Hey, Will, how you doing? Then from there, we can go ahead and scroll. You can still see on the customer's side that website is still there. So if he is, going through something and he wants to talk through it with an agent, well, he's still able to see that screen, do whatever he needs to, but have me over here on this right-hand column. So the first thing that I want to show, and maybe that's a little bit different for those of you that already have our software, maybe this is new for others, I'm going to go ahead and click on this button. So on that left-hand side, we're on the employee view, and I can 4 large buttons at the bottom. I'm going to ask Will to send me his driver's license. So then you'll see on the customer screen that upload a file option pop up. So if you're watching Will, he's taken out his smartphone. He can scan that QR code in his native camera app. And then from there, he can take a picture of whatever documentation that the employee is requesting. So driver's license, bill of sale, whatever the case may be. And then from there, he can go ahead and submit that to me from there. I will then receive that picture, and then I can go ahead and download that, place it to a specific file on my machine. Really, however that workflow looks like for you guys at the financial institution, we can absolutely do that. So I can go ahead and click on that, ensure that Will is who he says he is. Will, you're not Patrick Mahomes.
No, everybody wants to be Patrick Mahomes, but Will's definitely not.
Will, you're
it.
not. You have the Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Got the Travis Kelce here.
We just don't want to be the Patrick's wide receivers. Oh, sorry, too soon.
Too soon.
I shouldn't say
that. The only other thing that I want to mention is that Will is able to chat with me, and it looks a little bit different than how it normally would. So you can see that chat populates here, and then over here on my side, I can see when the customer is responding. I can also respond to that customer. We can respond back and forth to each other. Very high level. Only other thing is that the customer has the ability to co-browse from their side now. So if he wanted to co-browse with me, he could click co-browse, and then we could launch into a session with Will from there. But I'm going to go ahead and end that session with Will. Thanks, Will, for demoing with us. And then that survey is going to populate on Will's side, and he can go ahead and
all
fill
5 stars,
that out. Always. And then that data is pulled back into our survey and reporting system on the Invo dashboard. Andrew, that is all that I really wanted to show.
Yeah.
That's very high level.
I mean, we're so excited about the new widget.
Excited.
Being able to offer a more seamless transition between where your customers are at and connecting to you. So we're really excited about
and
that.
it was very high level. So if you're wanting to see more of an in-depth demo, please contact me, contact James, whoever, and we'd be more than happy to show that to you.
Now, let's see who was paying attention.
Who was listening?
Maddie is still on top, but only up by 9 points.
All right, this is the last one. Get your browsers.
Let's get it.
Get your app. Let's go. All right, all about the demo. Question number 1 from this section. With the new widget, your customers no longer have to leave your website to connect with an agent through our software. Is that true or is that false?
Oof, I was really thinking you were going to flip it again. I wonder if people thought you were going to flip it. And then
maybe
hesitated,
back and forth. You never
hesitated,
know.
or
no,
you didn't trick anybody.
Nobody.
Ooh.
Everybody
Yikes.
got it right. Yes, it is true. Let's see.
Oh
man.
Good job. Only 6 points
Remember,
now.
you gotta be
Man
fast.
alive.
Gotta be fast. Okay, which of these is not a channel of communication you can provide through Invo's new widget? Is it co-browse, voice call, video banking, chatbot, schedule meeting, or employees yodeling?
I was going to let you know, I think this is a direct dig at me. My yodeling skills are quite impressive. Yes.
It was yodeling.
But we might add that as a channel later on.
We definitely could add that as a channel.
Oh, there's a little bit of a gap.
Oh my goodness.
There's a little pause there
so
from
close.
Lizdale.
All right, this is the last question.
True or false?
With the new widget, customers can now co-browse from their side. Is that true or is that false?
Once again, there's a bunch of hesitation there because everybody's trying to figure out if is she tricking or not.
Here we go. We're gonna see who the winner is in 5 seconds.
So excited.
I know, me too. All right. Can I get a drum roll, Andrew?
Oh,
13
good job.
people got
Hey,
it right.
good job.
Good job, everybody.
All right, podium.
In third place, we have
Hollywood 436.
And second, we have the
Lizaldi.
Lizaldi. And in first, we have
Maddie!
Woo!
Good job, Maddie! We're so excited. Oh man, I love this.
So excited.
You guys don't know there's a big blower down here.
Congratulations, Maddie.
Congratulations. Please do not forget to get a hold of Hope. You can email her at hope@invosolutions.com, and you can pick out the Yeti that you want, and then we can get your
yes.
mailing address so we can send it to you. So thank you so much, and great job. I think she led. She was in second place and then first. She was never dipped below.
So excited.
That's fantastic.
Good job, Maddie.
Okay, so I think that's about us wrapping up. Let's kind of review with some show notes. As you can see, it's on this side. I'm always confused. Okay, you can also visit Critical Ops and talk with Chelsea if you'd like to. From there, you can visit our site, Invo Solutions. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button on this YouTube channel. Follow us on LinkedIn. Register for next month's Invo Insider, which is going to be awesome.
Amazing.
And if you want to talk to Hope, talk to Hope. You do want to talk to Hope. That's the main thing.
course.
You want to talk to her. Hope@invosolutions.com.
Absolutely. And for those, absolutely, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. If this is your first time,
Yes.
please fill out the first time survey so that you can potentially win this Invo
Yes.
Yeti Cup.
It's not just a prop. You can have
You
this.
can have it if you fill out the first time survey. And then, as always, this is the beginning of a new year. So we want to hear what you want to see on the Invo Insider this year in 2024. So please fill out the survey. We'd love to hear your feedback and grab all that from
Let
there.
us know if James was missed or if I should be come back. I don't know. Like
You
whatever.
both are amazing.
Yeah. Hope's always going to be here because she makes the show, so we're good there. All right. I think that's it. Let's take a quick look at what is upcoming for next month's Insider. All right. Looking forward to that.
I'm very much so looking forward to that.
All right. I think that's it. Thank you so much for attending Season 3 premiere of the Invo Insider 2024. I told you to stop! And hopefully by the time next Insider is, the construction will be over and we'll be able to showcase a little bit more of our HQ. We're really excited to show you that.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Double wave.
Bye, everybody.